Strap yourself in. There's a lot of slides here. I believe in photos. Don't want to listen to me. So a picture tells 1,000 words. So just hang on. And this is a trip basically all around Australia of how we've been growing hemp for the last 15 years. So like I was saying, I work for the federal government. Your taxpayers pay for me when I'm working for them. I'm here at my own pleasure today. So I like sharing the love. There's a display over there, a big one of hemp fibre and grain. A lot of products. Please don't steal them. I've got to keep replenishing them otherwise. And so, let's go. I've been working in the industry 15 years. I'm an agronomist. I've been an agronomist for 40 years. So I've come from the conventional agriculture. But as I've learned through life that the old way is not necessarily the good way and we need new ways. So I teach regenerative hemp farming down the road at Casino on one of the biggest hemp farms in Australia. It's Stuart Larson's, Mara Seeds and Soft Agriculture. He's organic and he's breeding hemp. He has biochar, he has compost. He is walking the talk and he does hemp. So that's the sort of people we need to encourage and help move this industry forward. I'm ex-government Department of Ag agronomist, so I also know the government side of this and licensing, and I keep in touch with them. So I don't think the licensing is the end of the world. I think there are other issues that are holding this industry back. So you can quote me, but I think, you know, the license is just tick the box, get your gun license, get your car license, get your hemp license. That's not a problem. I think there are other issues, as you can all discuss. If you want to ask questions, you're welcome to, but maybe we should wait till the last. So we don't need to, that's a male and female flowering. Some plants have males and females on the same plant. That's called monoecious. This is dioecious, where you have separate males and females. I'm going to go very fast. I'm not familiar with this keyboard. Can someone help?
You want to go to the next one or back again? Just the left or right arrow or the space bar?
Can you show me, please? I don't want to blow it up.
Which way do you want to go?
Next one.
Oh, okay, we're stuck.
Why are we stuck? It's not even on the screen.
Don't know.
Oh, dear. We're at the start, but what's here is not up there, sorry.
Where's that?
That could be anywhere.
Oh, I can see it.
There it is, down low.
So somehow...
We've run along, yeah, there it is, I can see it. So I just go click.
God.
Just go click.
Yeah, we've got to get out of this, sorry.
Oh, I touched this.
Okay, you've touched something,
Yeah.
and now we're back.
Let's.
There?
That's it, let's go. And all I touch is
This guy.
that one. I've never done that, sorry.
Hey.
All right, I won't bore you with words, so let's just keep going. That's a beautiful hemp crop on the joint Murray meeting the Darling. And he does not fertilise, it's on beautiful soil. And it's fed by the blue-green algae in the horrible Darling that's a putrid. And it's got dead carp in it. And he feeds his hemp crops that are 6 metres tall without fertiliser, with the Darling River putrid, stinking, rotten fertiliser, naturally. Hates waterlogging. I said that. There's trials. See, the front ones are flowering and finishing. The back ones haven't even started flowering. That is the genetic diversity in hemp. It is incredible. Some plants will flower within 40 days. Other plants will flower within 190 days. All at the same planting. So the genetics is fantastic. We will have a plant that can do anything with, basically, to fit any area. That's at Hamilton in Victoria. That's at South Australia. That's having a quiet beer on a centre pivot in South Australia near Penola. Irrigation. Hemp doesn't use water, does it? That's bullshit. Do not tell me that hemp needs no fertiliser, no water and no pesticides. If you want to grow a good crop, you have to look after it. And yes, hemp can use as much water as cotton. You can quote me. If you want a 6 metre tall crop, it'll need water. All right, if anyone want to pull me up, you can. But I've got trials all around Australia. This is the first crop I've ever had dry land on the rolling hills of the Gippsland. This is potato country, it's dry land, and it's the rolling hills of the Gippsland, summer crop, dry land. Can be done. That's it. Dryland, summer crop, no irrigation. So it can be done. That's a higher rainfall summer area. That's in the Mallee, windswept, windblown, danger, paddock crossing road. I saw that once in the Mallee, danger, paddock crossing road, because of the wind erosion. So we're trying to put hemp in to hold the soil together. And as you can see, it doesn't all hold it all together because it's a pretty harsh environment, even with pivot irrigation. But that's the crop, it came good, and that's the same crop, it did come good. These are trials in Victoria, beautiful dryland, Gippsland. They're varieties. Each one of those ones is a different variety. That's a close-up. That's Tasmania, grain. These are grain crops. If you see heads and flowers, that's grain. If you don't see that, it's usually biomass. That's in Townsville, Burdekin. That's for seed. That's it, just west of here, Toowoomba, out on the Darling Downs. Beautiful. That's it, Catherine. See, look at the front variety. It's gone straight to head in a winter crop up north, straight to head in 1 month, whereas the back variety is only just thinking of it. So we have this genetic diversity that we've got to get our head around to see what we want to do with it, for grain, for biomass, for CBD, whatever. And planting dates. Whoops, that was just another one. So the flowering date is critical. Now, this is what I really want to show. And the earlier speaker, where is most of the hemp grown? 40 to 60, North America, Canada, Europe, Russia, right? That is where the hemp varieties came from. Where's that in Australia? It's called the Great Southern Ocean. We don't grow much hemp in the Southern Ocean. So to grow hemp in Central America, Central Africa and Australia, it's 40 to 20, that's subtropical. So the only places they've been growing it is in the Himalayas, and that's not tropical because it's high, it's snow, it's cold. So we're learning that hemp actually likes cold, not so much heat. It's a summer crop, but we're finding it'll germinate at 5 degrees, not 20 that you need for summer crops. We're finding it'll establish through snow and handle minus 17 degrees. That's not a summer crop. So here's more genetic variability. That's fantastic. We can grow this crop all year round. Oh, and Kanaf. I'll talk about Kanaf. Well, there's a poster over there about Kanaf. It's hibiscus cannabis. Hibiscus cannabis. Think about it. That's another cannabis crop, but a hibiscus species. It's very similar to hemp. So that's the same plant variety, just planted at different times of the year. See the different height? Relating to when and where you plant it. That's day length. If you're into day lengths, that's what it's all about. They respond to day length. Flowering is triggered by day length or not, depending on the variety. This is the best one I've ever used. So blue is sowing dates, red is flowering dates, green is finish harvest. So some, no matter when you plant, they all flower and harvest on the same date, same length. Whereas these ones, they only flower, no matter when you plant, they all come in at the same time. So no matter when you plant, it is triggered to flower on one date. So that's a critical thing if you're a breeder. I'm not a breeder, I'm just a clod kicker. So we got the basic, this highly nutritious superfood. It's 30% protein. It's better than a legume, a pulse. It's 30% oil. The fibre and the herd, the fibre is the outside, the rope, the inside is the herd. 70% herd, 20% fibre. Textile, hempcrete. At the moment, we go after the hempcrete because we haven't got the markets for the textile yet. See how the fibre just wraps off the outside. The sample's over there. They are some good roots. Normally, all my trials have no roots. If we look after the crop, it will not. If you look after a crop, it won't put roots out. If you stress it a bit, it'll put dry land, it'll put roots out. So that's the only couple of good photos I can show you of the deep roots of hemp. Whereas, oh, no wonder it's big, it's a video. That's a grain crop. Another one. The whole story is about flowering dates. Now, look at this. The strength of a fibre. Wool, coconut, cotton, jute, rami, pinya, abaca banana, flax, sisal, kanaf I mentioned, oilseed flax is a linseed, glass, what's the best? This is so far out there, it scares you. If you pull one fleck of fibre off that plant, you can't break it. No wonder they made ropes out of it. And look at all the products. I mean, this is the big thing about hemp. Look at all that. Seed, human, animals, garden, biochar, bedding. My house is made out of hempcrete, right? I have a hempcrete house. I don't have air conditioning in Queensland. It's the best insulation. No termites, no fire. What else do you want? Sign up. Textiles. All our wool and cotton goes overseas. So what are we going to do with our hemp textiles? Please help. Do something local. There's hempcrete. There's high-techs. Look at that. Bulletproof helmets. Bulletproof flak jackets. I've got samples over there. I put a 303 bullet through a hemp block that thick, nearly killed me. Went sideways, the bullet. The Chinese have been doing this for centuries. We're on catch-up. That's my house, hemp blocks. Mercedes-Benz have hemp in it. Now everyone else is trying to get it. And Kanaf. So, a 100-day crop, that's a metre a month, okay? A metre a month. It chases you out of the paddock. Establishment is critical. That's opium planting, but the same thing with hemp. You need good establishment. Good establishment is critical. Otherwise, the plant's uneven or tends to branch and do silly things. But you can use simple old machines. He was in the Hunter Valley. We started the hemp industry in the Hunter Valley 20 years ago. The first 2 mills before it was legal to eat was in the Hunter Valley because it's got that beautiful Ku-ring-gai Chase sandstone mixed with that beautiful heavy fertile Liverpool Plains clay. So the combination is a beautiful alluvial soil for lucerne growing, perfect for hemp. Hemp hates waterlogging. Establishment is everything. Look at that, beautiful. And now, no weeds under that. That smothers weeds. You do not need, usually, to use herbicides or chemicals. That's cotton country. We make more money from hemp than cotton farmers. And yes, we use nearly as much water as cotton. Quote me. That's furrow irrigation, hemp on cotton beds. That's the massive roots. It's all about soil biology. It just does things to the soil you won't believe. That's a good one. That's a good one, dryland. That's that same one in WA we saw. Look at, oh my God, how long is that? How old is that plant? It's only 4 months. Look at the roots. So it does have good roots. I'm just saying they're not always. If you look after hemp too well, it gets lazy. So you need to stress it. That's my normal crops. 9 sites, everyone the same, because we're looking for genetic differences, so we're trying to provide the nutrients and the water unlimited. And as soon as you do that, the plant says, I'm in happy town, I don't need to do any work. No roots are grown. Anyway, that's just a typical agronomy issue we have. Whereas that's my guy on the Darling, look at that, no fertiliser. And it's 6 metres tall, that crop. And that is 2 crops in a year. See, we planted in October on the right. This is in January. We're harvesting. See, we're windrowing and baling the fibre crop. And we're planting the same variety on the same day we're harvesting in January to get a grain crop. Because it'll go straight to head at 1 metre and we'll get fibre in 3 months and grain in 3 months in the same year. So we can grow 3 crops a year. That's harvesting. That's lucerne in the front, beautiful on the Hunter, beautiful rotation. It's industrial. This is big. We're talking serious shit here, all right? We're not mucking around in backyards. That's at University of Queensland. He's got a chainsaw there to cut the stuff down. It's bloody hard. That's the only crop I've ever seen in my life that lodged because we sprayed it with Roundup. It must have lost its something and it just fell over. But I've never seen a hemp crop that tall fall over in my life other than the one we sprayed. We were trying to show that you can desiccate a hemp crop if you need to. That is on pure human shit, biosolids in the Hunter Valley. It loves organic fertiliser. That was my first crop. We even used cotton. You know, if you know the cotton industry, they used to use the big modules. So that's how because it's light, it's not heavy, it's bulky. So you need to compact it. And to cart it, you've got to have dense crops. You can't have light. It's just too expensive to cart. So we were using cotton module equipment. That's the Hunter Valley, beautiful. Raking to make the bales, to take it to the decorticator that separates the fibre from the herd. And if you leave it in the paddock, you go from green on the right to mouldy. The mould and the bacteria break it down like they did in the old days. That's how they separated it. Not mechanically, they separated it by retting. Why is Rotterdam called Rotterdam? Because the rivers were full of hemp being rotted. Rotterdam is Rotterdam retting hemp. Read your history, it's amazing. So I've got a sample here in my pocket of hemp that is green. See that? Not decorticated, not dried. And it is just squashed and heated. And it makes this absolute beautiful, at Mullumbimby, laminate. No glues, no chemicals, just a bit of heat and pressure turns that green hemp stem into natural laminate. Think about it. And that's biochar laminate. It just never ceases to amaze me. It's tough. It'll block your head up, I tell you, if you make a mistake. We can do it like silage, dry, that's haylage, dry hemp, carting it with big machines. That's the cotton modules. That's the new machines. It's just 4 cutter bars, like a loosened cutter bar, single mower with 4. Because the crop's so high, you need to cut it at 4 levels to get the billet you need. And they can go at 20 clicks an hour. There's your hay in Tassie. There's a factory, just women only, making hemp from the stubble of grain crops. So they take the grain off and they use the stubble to make hempcrete. It was on By Design last weekend. By Design last weekend, hempcrete in Tasmania. The best one is Landline, October 93. Landline 2003, hemp. You watch that and you'll be amazed. This is hemp seed in the ground. Remember I said it doesn't like heat? In the ground with water, plenty of water. It's 35 degrees, the soil's 50, and it cooks the oil. The oil is such a low boiling point that if you try to put this in the ground and the soil temperature is 50 and the air temperature is 40, it'll say bye-bye. It'll cook and go rancid in the ground. It hates. That's real temperatures. What's the temperature on the right? 30 something? Can you read it? Sorry. 30 degrees. Day air temperature. The soil's 60. Black soil is 60. Even with moisture there. And that seed says, stick it. We're gone. That's that pivot in the mallee. Look at that sand. We're growing it on sand. And you saw the crop. That's it blowing away. Look out, we're going to have a couple of double ups here. That's what happens. It blows away. I'm not stupid. I said, let's plant it twice in case we do get a wind, sandblasting event. So we did. The first crop was fine. The back crop, not so fine. That's that crop you saw. Diseases, I won't get into the diseases. That's Toowoomba again. That's out at Goondiwindi. We got frosted out there, yep. These are the young seedlings that survived the frost. The crop that was flowering above it died. So if it's flowering, it'll get frosted. The young seedlings did not get frosted. If you're vegetative and green, it'll go all winter. That's stomp. That's herbicide damage from chemicals. And that's called turnips in your hemp. You don't want that from the stomp. That's just a stuff up with chemicals. We do use chemicals and they stuff it up. That's a lateral move, huge money, you know. That's that cotton paddock, beautiful for hemp. That's in mango country up in Townsville. You don't want waterlogging lying even on beds. It'll kill it. That's Gatton. That's just west of here, for an hour, 2 hours west of here. That's getting erosion and washed away from the big storms from waterlogging. I'm going to go really quick now. See, the top's okay, but the bottom is too wet. Same there. Cotton, fine, good beds. That's the hunter again. That's the hunter again. There's some of my first crops. Absolutely incredible. 20 years ago. I don't know how to use this, do I? Weeds. If you have weeds in there, you're going to be in a problem. So see that gap there in the weeds? That is the same spot, and it completely covered. You missed a gap, wide, full of weeds, and the hemp just covers it and smothers it. Not a problem. And look at the mulch on the ground. Nothing, dead. That's that same spot. See, this right hasn't been sprayed, the left has, so you can see the weed control. So yes, we do need, that's the height difference from with or without sprays. And that's a weedy paddock. You do not want that. That's turnip and mustard. So you do have to control weeds if you've got problems. And vines will climb it as well. That's a weedy one. You don't want that. You do not want that. Fertiliser response. Loves fertiliser. See that strip up the middle where they forgot to put fertiliser? I went down and put urea or nitrogen. It could be compost or something more green and clean. It loves it. That's the same. See that? It loves it. If you don't look after this crop, it'll slap you in the face. If you look after it, it'll reward you, whether you're organic, biodynamic, or conventional. That's that same spot, see? Compost. We've used a lot of compost on hemp. It loves it. That's nutrient deficiencies. You've got to be correct. That's salinity. Hates salt. Do not put it where salt is. That's a boron deficiency. That's dry land in the middle of Victoria. See the dry summer, middle of nowhere in Victoria, and the beautiful hemp crops, dry land in summer. Same. But it does get water deficient if you push it too hard, or the roots aren't deep, or you haven't got a good soil moisture profile. So it's not a magical one that you just say this crop's going to grow anywhere all the time and be good. It's not. I call it a bit of a prima donna, really, but maybe I'll negotiate that. So that's wilting, right? Because there's bloody no moisture there. So it does need water. That's compaction. Look at the difference. Big tractors nowadays have tram lines, and they forgot the big tractor's wheel was there on a trial site, little plots. So where it hadn't been compacted from the controlled traffic, tram lines in the past, it's fine. It's 1.5 meters. But in the front here, it's not even a foot. So it does not break up compaction. How many times have I read that? Bullshit. That's Goondiwindi. Got frosted. That's another one. See, it got frosted and bent over and wind. That's grain harvest. That is grain harvest dead. But it shatters and drops out. And birds love it. So, nothing's easy in farming, is it? If you go late, you'll miss it. So you've got to go harvest early when it's green. And you water it right up to the end because it's filling all the time. You've got late ones that are filling because it's indeterminate, meaning it's flowering and filling all the time. So if you don't water it right to the end, the last ones that are trying to finish are not full. That's frosted. Whereas the seedlings underneath, where I had a little trial, didn't get frosted. So the vegetative stage can handle it. And my Polish breeders tell me, she can handle snow and -17. I said, yep. So I'm now growing hemp in winter now. I'm planting now, not spring. That's 10 million hectares we can grow hemp on that we never knew we could. Oh, you'll love this one. So we harvested the hemp crop under a pivot on Hunter Valley. Bit of seed fell on the ground, as usual. We planted a barley crop. See the barley? Guess what? The hemp regrew, shot up, and beat the barley in winter. That's what convinced me to plant hemp now. The barley crop went in March. The hemp germinated at the same time, completely smothered the barley. That's the front not frosted, the back frosted. Vegetative versus flowering. If they're flowering and gone reproductive, they, just like wheat and canola, they suffer from frost, same as hemp at flowering. That's the frosted crop, but we're getting yield off it on beds, on cotton farm, beautiful harvesting of hemp grain. We don't muck around. This is a big, decent crop. They're huge machines, multi-million-dollar machines, you know. And because they're tall, we've got to use tall spray rigs sometimes, spray rigs or boom sprays. That's dead, desiccated. That's organic desiccation. You can buy organic desiccants now to do the same thing as all the ugly chemicals. So we've got the options there. They usually just cost a bit more, unfortunately. That's in the Hunter. That's at Gympie. That's just down the road here at Casino. See the seed there? It's ready to drop on the ground and the birds would love it. That's at Casino. That's a beautiful sample, not any... The guy harvested that mallee crop in Victoria. Look at it, that's pure seed. He is the best header driver I've ever known. Normally it's full of 20% shit and yuck. Leaf, and that's how thick it can be on the ground if you leave it on the ground. You got 200 seeds per square metre there, that's half your money left on the ground if you don't harvest properly. If you shatters, that's no more like a sample. See, it's all full of admix, they call that, stuff you don't want in it. And it makes it hot and it composts. So if you don't dry it within 24 hours, it's going to cook that seed. Remember, when we put it in the ground in a hot ground, it kills it. So we kill it at harvest as well if we get hot, wet silage like hemp samples that you don't dry. So it's not impossible to grow. You just got to know what you're doing. That's a cleaner. Clean gets all that crap out. Simple, easy, cheap, easy. There's another harvest. There's a dryers. That's in Hunter Valley. That's like silage, isn't it? But it's actually hemp grain. That's a beautiful sample. See the difference? And it costs you a lot of money if you've got to dry it and clean it. Tassie. See the little seeds? See that one brown one's ready to go and the others aren't. So it's really hard to pick. That's a windrow pickup. Do not windrow pickup. They do in Canada because they have to. But here, we've tried it and you just lose too much seed. Like canola, they use it. Here for hemp, we don't. That's beautiful grain, except for the 2 Heliothis caterpillars in it that are good protein. That's your normal green admix. Now, this is the worst scenario. Wet harvest, what's that called? Shot and sprung. Meaning you haven't harvested it, it's been wet, you're used to wet here, and out Queensland gets it. If you have a wet harvest, it'll shoot and germinate in the head. And you're buggered, you lose it. They can use it as stock feed, that's about all. But you still have to dry it. That's at Mullaney. I did that in our back paddock in a wet harvest. Whoops, that's Tassie. Tassie, why did we grow it in Tassie? Because they were the varieties closest to the same latitude. Remember I said Southern Ocean? The varieties were adapted to Tasmania. We've now got to rewrite the book on how do we grow hemp in the rest of Australia. That's why I've had 9 trials from the Ord, Katherine, Narrabri, Hamilton, all around Australia. It's not impossible. There's a dryer, you've got to dry it. There's the big dryers, even better. Dryers and cleaners. Cleaners. Hemp seed, primary hemp, they're in Geelong. Now, this is the same harvested grain, right? That was harvested and dried within 12 hours, remember? Good. This was dried, the same batch, 24 hours later. This is 36 hours later. It cooked it. It was silage. So you lose your germ. You could probably use it for food, but you can't use it for replanting. See, what's the germ there? Luxury, 29% germination. Bad luck. Oh, that guy's in Mawulumba. You didn't see his name, did you? That's harvesting. We're trying to work out whether we're going to bale the stubble, the biomass that's coming out the back of the header. That's the biomass. It's like rope. It's strong. You really need strong balers and equipment. That's coming out the back of the windrow. That's a bale of hemp. That's another windrow about to be baled. So you got the grain and you got the biomass, the two different crops, or one crop can do both. You can harvest the grain and the stubble. I won't get into the pests, but this is the horrible one. This is the cotton pest that we have in the hemp. They've bred hemp, cotton now, to have inbuilt genetics to stop this. So they don't spray cotton anymore. They used to spray 10 times. We've got to spray because they did GMO. We didn't. Am I recommending GMO? No, but I'm just saying. We got to spray because this bugger eats hemp. Cotton boys do not spray for that anymore. They eat the grain. That's what you eat. Leaf's no problem, it's the grain. See the dead heads in the grain there? That's relicate earth mites, seed dressings, diseases, sclerotinia. Look, I won't bother you. It's just that, yes, we do get diseases, all right? It's not, we use drones now to watch and look and treat, and that's a drone. It's just to get much better looks at the crops now. That's a huge, big 200-hectare linear move, lateral move. You need to look at it all. See that? It's amazing. You get a whole new view of how uniform your crop is. And you can treat only the areas that need it now. You don't have to go in with a machine and do the whole lot. With GPS, the header's actually telling you where your areas are high yielding and low. How long have I got? That's satellite imagery, not drone. That's a satellite. Comes over your farm every 3 days for almost free. Tells you, look, you've got drainage, you've got drought, you've got weeds. It is amazing, the whole new technology that's out there for ag. It's exciting. It's not all bad. Look at this header. John Deere, but we've got a guy in Australia built the same. That's cutting the biomass like a hay crop down low, so 4 metres above that is the heads. So he's putting the heads in the grain bin and putting a windrow out the back at the same time, one pass. We can do anything, just as long as what we're doing is good, or the right thing. That's John Deere. That's the fibre coming out the back of the Aussie header. That's the fibre in a bale, like cotton fibre in a bale. That's the herd. This is the first in the world. So a normal header is harvesting a hemp crop and it desiccates in the header. So what you normally have to take to a cotton gin or a processing plant, the header's doing. So the fibre is going in the grain bin. The herd's going in the grain bin and the fibre's coming out the back. This guy on the Darling River I mentioned, first in the world. Australian ingenuity. Absolutely blows your mind away what we can do. That's his header. He's cutting the hay, stubble, biomass down low with a silage cutter and the grain's coming off the top. Anyway, I get excited. That's him harvesting. That's what's on Landline. You'll see Landline. That's what it's all about. That's what he sees out the front of the header. He needs GPS to steer because he can't even see out the front of the header. It's like driving through a crop of corn. You know, you're down here and the crop's over your head. So he needs GPS to steer, to know where he's going. That's the product, the bales. That's going into a cotton gin. We would love to be able to put hemp through a cotton gin. There's 40 cotton gins out there. We don't have to reinvent the wheel and start hemp mills everywhere. What if we could use the existing cotton gins? We just need investment. That's our problem. Hemp beer? I've got one over there. Don't bloody steal it off me. A can of hemp beer from Tassie. I've got a hemp rum. Is that it? Yeah, that finished. Easy. See? How many slides was that? How many slides was that? 200 in 3/4 of an hour. It's not a record. Any questions? We've got time for questions. Anything? I know I went quick and fast. Sorry, guys.
Here we go.
Yes, John. How long have you got? Let me put that another way. How many days of good planting seed time do you need for the plant to be strong enough to start weathering, extremes of weather? If you put it in, it's too dry. Obviously, it'll cook it. If you put it in too cold, whatever the issues are. But if I get it in, and if it's in with good conditions for a week, will it be strong enough to take some adversity, or do I need to mother it for a month?
You probably heard me say establishment is everything. If you can get a good, uniform... Sorry. They call me PA, so I don't use it, see?
We're recording.
I know, sorry. I'm just telling you why I don't. So, establishment is everything, because hemp is such a competitor. If one is establishing 2 days after his mate will never see the light of day. He will compete his mate out if he's 2 days older, right? Not only will he smother the weeds out, but he'll smother, eucalyptus gums have that sort of allelopathy, they say stops other things growing. Well, hemp just grows so fast that if they don't come up evenly, he'll compete. So, you need them all to come up once. Dry land, yes, you got to plant into moisture with good subsoil, right? With a press wheel. So they all come up at once. Irrigation, you can be more slack because you can water it. Temperature, you can't change. So you don't plant when it's 50 degrees in the soil. So we're now knowing when and when not to plant. And farmers know that. You don't need me to tell them that. Sorry.
Oh, wait a sec. Here we go.
How long?
How long of that good planting weather do I need to have the crop establish itself well? A week? 2 weeks?
It needs to get a root down into the mud, right, underneath.
Yeah.
And you can get a hot wave afterwards, but as long as the roots are in moisture, it might lose a couple of leaves, but it'll still come.
2 days, 3 days, 7 days?
It'd be 2 weeks.
Right.
At least.
Yep.
You wouldn't, if you knew a hot bloody hell was coming, you'd think twice of planting. Just like any farmer would, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So there's a good display over there if you want. Please don't steal anything. There's some Canaf poster as well if you're interested in Canaf. It's more summer tolerant.
We've got another question over here.
Yeah, g'day, John. I was wondering, with the harvester that's separating the fibre from the herd in situ, how do you go about retting in that kind of system?
So as you saw in that earlier photo of several retting colours, some people don't need it retted. If you're just after herd, you don't need the retting, because the retting's all about separating and treating the fibre. The herd doesn't need retting. So if you're just after herd, they don't worry about the fibre. They chop it up short and sell it as animal mulch or whatever, You're not after textiles. It's the textiles that claim they want the retting, right? So they'll have a month or two, depending on the rainfall and the heat and the wet and the mildews and the mist, to help break that fibre from the herd. So to answer your question, do you need retting? Not all the time, no. Depends on your product, right? And if you do need retting, it's hard for him as a header to do that. He's got a harvest of the grain harvest, right? So there's no retting. Other than the fact that the males mature a month earlier than the females. So the males are in there dead when you're harvesting the females. Half male, half female. So they're already retting, they're standing retting. So it's a complicated answer because it's not simple, you know what I mean? There's various degrees of retting depending if you're a male or a female and when you harvest it and what's your use of the crop. So it's a complicated thing, but we just got to sort it all out. It's not impossible. It's exciting, it's interesting. And we can learn from overseas. China, Americans think they know everything. They've only been doing it, for a while, hemp for victory and all that, but we got to go to India, we got to go to, I've worked overseas in a lot and I learned so much going overseas. Thanks.
Okay, any more questions coming from the audience? So John, you've got a display set up over here near the door.
I'll leave it there all day if it's allowed.
Okay, lovely. And you'll be also hovering around if people would like to chat to you about that.
And my card's over there. Grab a card if you want it.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your very vast experience in the world of hemp. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks so much, John Shaw.